Finished The Office. I've seen a lot of the show before, but I've never actually finished the entire series. And after rewatching it, I really don't feel the way most people do. I'm not saying the show's bad. This is my thoughts. Is like a series where, not a review, I just share my thoughts and feelings. Not a review is more objectively speaking. So if I say a movie is objectively speaking good, that means objectively speaking it's a well-made film. And but do take that with a grain of salt, because some movies I can be wrong on, but most of the time I try to be as objective as possible, not I'll put my own personal taste for things and stuff like that. Rambo was a little bit more subjective. So anyways, so let's talk about this. So, season 1, I've seen most of season 2 and 3. They're just it airing on TV, friends going over to a friend's house and it'd be playing in the background of the show. I'd never seen season 1. So I started from season 1, clicked it, and season 1, I didn't know that it was a shot-for-shot remake of The British Office, which of course I'd never seen. But I still haven't seen it. I'm not going to watch it. I just have no interest. Sorry. But basically, that's what it is. And it's not, it doesn't even feel like the rest of the show. It's not funny. It's not good. And the show gets at its best from season 2 to 3. That's really good stuff. It works really well. Puts the characters in interesting dynamics that work really well for them. And I do find the show very uncomfortable. I'm sorry, there's a baby crying in the background. Can't do nothing about it. But I find the show very uncomfortable because these people are meant to be realistic people. And in the context of the show, basically the point of the show is to show these people realistically working in an office job. And then you got over the top personalities like Michael Scott and forgetting his name, I don't know why. Dwight. How did I forget that? It's like the most iconic, one of the most iconic character, the second most iconic character of the show, or besides, like, I don't know, Jim Pam. There's a lot of iconic characters in the show. Point is, they're over the top. They're not realistic. They do have realistic things about them, though. And Michael Scott, I think, is one of the best characters in TV. Because I think what they're trying to go for, it works and it doesn't work. I do think this is a flaw of the writing. So Michael Scott is incredibly sexist and racist. It's hard to tell sometimes whether this comes from his ignorance. Most of the time it does, and he learns his lesson and becomes a better person throughout the episodes. But other times it's not conveyed as well. And I think that's a bad thing, and I think could send the wrong message. I know this show they've been talking about bringing back the show for years. They should never do that, because this could not work in Me Too culture, that crap. Woke culture, it just could not work, this show. And I think this is a funny show. I really think season 4 is pretty good. It doesn't reach the level of season 2 to 3, but it's like third best season. I can't do anything about it. I'm sorry. Anyways. So season 5 is okay for the most part. I think the whole part where they're losing weight for like a contest was just annoying. I didn't find it funny. I thought that whole arc was stupid. And then the more it went down, and when it got to the part of Michael Scott quitting and starting his own paper company, I was like, I'm out. So I watched a couple episodes of that arc, and what I did is I tried to give it a chance, and I watched a few episodes of that arc, and then I just skipped it because it went on for too long, and you already know he's going to be back because he's in the next season as the boss. He doesn't leave until a few seasons later. And I think that's when the show really went downhill, is season 5. Really. It started going downhill from there. Because the creators even admitted this, that they wrote The Office as one-dimensional characters. Yes, they're somewhat realistic, but they're realistic in their one trait. Kevin is the one guy who says whatever's on his mind randomly. Michael Scott just needs to be loved and crap. Well, Michael Scott's actually more complex, actually. Never mind. But like Jim and Pam, you know, they're all stereotypes in a way. They're more realistic, but they're, I don't know how to explain it. But basically, when they wrote the show Brooklyn Nine-Nine, they made sure that they could write those characters to go on longer, so that way if they have a show that's long running, they could run that a lot longer. And so that's what they did with that show. And I think that was very smart, but it really hurt The Office, because as the show went on, you see worse and worse of the characters doing more and more evil and just horrible things. It becomes more and more uncomfortable to watch, and the more it goes on, I'm just like, I'm out. And I do think there's still funny episodes in season 5. The show doesn't really get bad to about season 7 or whenever Michael Scott leaves. But basically, it just... Honestly, The Office is a good show. It's a really well-written show, but I'm not into it the way everybody else is. I think there's a lot of good things about it. I don't think it's infinitely rewatchable. I've literally been rewatching the show since January. Because that's how long it takes me to watch this show. Because I'm uncomfortable watching these characters. Because how real the situations they're involved with are. And I know people like some of these characters. Like Angela and stuff like that. You know. And it's just weird and uncomfortable. And I think it's a good show. I really recommend the show if you haven't seen it. Like, it's on Netflix. It's leaving soon. Watch the whole show. I'm gonna pick it up. I'm really waiting for them to put this show on Blu-ray. Then I'll pick it up. But honestly, I don't know how many times I'll rewatch this show, to be honest. I might rewatch. I rewatch clips more than I watch specific episodes. Honestly, that's why I don't have any Pops, really. I'm just not that into the show. Plus, the Pops are just like people in office suits. They're not really well detailed. You know? I don't know. But yeah, I like the show. It's a good show. Check it out if you haven't. But it's not one of my favorite shows at all. It's probably, I don't know. If it was on a favorite list at all, it'd have to be like top 200 shows. Actually, I don't even like that many shows. I don't watch a lot of TV, to be honest. I'm just watching through King of the Hill, and I'll probably do a video on King of the Hill through this style. I don't know if I will rewatch the whole show. It's like 11 seasons, so maybe not. But yeah, I could do that actually right after this video. I have seen enough of King of the Hill that I can do that, so...